On a gorgeous 65-degree fall Friday evening in Philadelphia, we welcome you to McGuire Field here on the campus of Penn Charter. For SFBN, I'm Christopher Markowitz alongside Josh Abrams. And Josh, Malvern Prep comes into today with a perfect 6-0 record. This is a Malvern team that last year went 1-4 in non-conference games, but it's been a much different start to the 2018 campaign for the Friars.
Yeah, and you're definitely right about that, Chris. This Malvern team is loaded on all facets on offense. They have plenty of weapons on that can line up outside, and we know what Nick Guerrera and Quincy Watson coming back is gonna do to this offense today. But definitely improve it in some ways more than not.
Yeah, Quincy Watson will be getting the start at running back, and an undefeated start to the season. When you talked to Coach Guerrera at the beginning of the campaign, he was a little concerned with the difficulty of schedule,
Absolutely.
But Malvern has handled their business. We now start Interact play here today. Penn Charter, this is a team 4-1 on the year. Their only loss last season, Josh, coming against this Malvern squad. They come in today. Edward Sadie is their all-time leader in program rushing. What are your thoughts on him?
Yeah, he is just such a dynamic player. He almost reminds you of that Saquon Barkley, that Le'Veon Bell, that running back that can line up as a receiver and really just – he's almost one of those players where you say, put it in your hands, make a play, and that's what Edward Sadie, I think, is really good at doing.
The leader for their offense. They don't really throw the ball much. They try to go through the ground with Sadie. What does Malvern Prep going to have to do to slow him down?
Malvern Prep is going to have to really make sure that Sadie gets his yards, but they're going to have to make sure they don't give up any 80, 90-yard touchdowns, which is what Coach Guerrera wants in this game.
We're going to send it down now to the sideline to the third member of our broadcast crew, Lisa Roman. Lisa, what do you have for us?
Last season, Penn Charter's only loss of the year came from Malvern Prep. And when I spoke with Penn Charter head coach Tom Coyle earlier this week, he said as a coaching staff, the Quakers like to make each game intense. But Coyle told his players that tonight's game was a championship caliber game. On defense, the Quakers are going to focus on making those open field tackles to try to prevent Malvern from scoring. On the other side of the field, Malvern Prep head coach David Guerrera is happy to welcome back Quincy Watson. As a fifth-year player, Watson was unable to play in any PIAA games leading up to tonight's match, but he will start at tailback tonight for the Friars. Chris?
Thank you so much, Lisa. We're going to take a quick break here, but when we come back, kickoff for this afternoon's game. Welcome back to McGuire Field in Philadelphia alongside Josh Abrams. I'm Christopher Markowitz. Moments away from kickoff. And Josh, what are your thoughts leading up to this first Interact game for both these squads?
I don't really know what to expect, Chris. I almost feel like Drew Gunther's going to be pressured so much that it could be a defensive game, but at the same time we're going to see a lot of passes from Malvern and a lot of runs from Penn Charter with Sadie. This could be a shootout, Chris.
Has the potential to be so. Now, I know that Lisa mentioned Penn Charter's only loss last season came against this Malvern squad. Penn Charter has not beaten Malvern Prep, Josh, since the fall of 2006. Whew. So it's been a long time for Penn Charter, but looking to change that here today. They're going to start on defense. Lining up to
Yes,
take the
they
kick is number 44, Ryan Holmes. Back to receive for Malvern, you've got number 10, Lonnie White. Kick is off. It's a good one. It's going to take a bounce into the end zone. White will leave it for a touchback. And onto the field now comes the Friars offense, led by the senior quarterback, Drew Gunther. And Josh, we had a chance to talk to his father shortly before the game, and he told us last weekend they went down to Virginia Tech, caught the Notre Dame-Virginia Tech football game, and that looks to be a promising spot that Gunther could end up when it's all said and done here in his career at Malvern.
Yeah, and we knew how much interest Gunther was getting with the visit to West Virginia, and we were wondering if that was going to have a little bit of an effect of his final decision. But yes, Virginia Tech does seem to be the choice of destination for next fall.
Gunther lined up at that quarterback position. Two receivers to his right. It's Lonnie White and Ryan Cohn. Watson in the backfield. Gunther pitches it to Watson. Carries it up the middle for a short gain. Quincy heading to Delaware next season. He makes this offense even more dynamic when he's in it. Malvern has had to play with Nicholas Guerrera at that back position for much of the year.
And he's done a good job of filling in the void from Watson. 39 rushes, 274 yards.
Yes, he has. Meanwhile, Gunther handoff again to Watson. Hit hard at the line of scrimmage. Little to no gain there. So some pressure here at the line of scrimmage early on from this Penn Charter defense.
Yeah, this Penn Charter D-line is doing a good job of getting around the tackles and limiting Watson to only a couple yards of carry, and we're definitely expecting to see a drop back here in the shotgun formation.
Now we've got three receivers to Gunther's right. 3rd down and 5. Gunther takes the snap, looking right, going to fire it deep. Down the close sideline, intended for Iacone. Does he have it? He does! And now a flag. It looks like it's going to be taunting as Iacone caught it over the back of number 30, Matthew Marshall, and then pointed at him. I think that's what we're going to have the call for, Josh.
That was just a great pursuit of the ball by Ryan Iacone, and Gunther threw it up there just pretty much having the mindset that his receiver was going to go up, get the ball. It was a 50-50 ball, and obviously it turned out well for the Friars, even though Iacone got a little too excited after the big play. But nevertheless, a great 3rd down play by Malvern, keeping this drive going.
Iacone caught the ball on the Quakers' 40-yard line, but the 15-yard penalty for unsportsmanlike conduct moves them back to their own 45. So it'll be 1st down and 10 to go from the Malvern 45-yard line. Gunther in shotgun, empty backfield. 3 receivers to his left, 2 to his right. Now Watson comes to the backfield. Fake handoff. He hits Lonnie White, and Lonnie White is going to break free for the end zone. Lonnie White takes it to the house, 55 yards on the slant route, and a quick strike for the Malvern Prep Friars.
That was a very interesting play, Chris, simply because the linebackers were bringing the blitz. We saw the blitz coming immediately.
Well, here it is on the replay. Gunther reads the blitz and gets it out in a half second, hits White, and he is so quick in the open field, Josh.
Yeah, and Jalen Jones is just not there. He's not fast enough to catch up to him, and obviously a very easy 40-plus yard touchdown for Malvern.
Good design there for the Friars. On to take the extra point now is Sebastian Constantini with a D1 leg. Constantini's try is up, and it's wide left.
The holder, John Boyle, seemed to have got it down just fine. It might have just been an error on the part of Constantini.
So Constantini no good on the extra point. 6-0 lead for Malvern. Their offense looked impressive going to the pass there, Josh.
Yeah.
What did you like from them on the looks when they did try to throw it?
Yeah, they just – on that first pass play where Iacone went up and caught it, it just – like I said, it was Gunther saying 50-50 ball, I want my receiver to go get it. And then obviously the slant route was just a great play call. And it looks like if this drive is any indication of how the game's going to go, Malvern's passing game is going to be lethal.
Well, it has been all season. Drew Gunther coming into today had thrown for 1,300-plus yards, 13 touchdowns. In a game earlier this year against Berks Catholic, he set the school record for passing yards in a game with 386. So that is the strength of this Malvern team, is that passing offense. They have so much balance. As you mentioned to me before the broadcast, how many different receivers has Gunther thrown a pass to in the end zone?
I counted 7, and given how this season has been going, that's pretty impressive, just given the fact that there's so many weapons, so many options, and he's just been able to spread the wealth. You don't really see that happening all that often, so to see a young quarterback like that spread it out a little bit and share the load, it's definitely nice to see.
Kickoff now from Malvern. It's a squib kick. Tackled at the 35-yard line is the return man for Penn Charter. It was number 12, Dean Bergman.
Tyler Tinson, and among many Friars that were in on the stop there.
So Penn Charter will have it to start on their own 35. They are led by the junior quarterback, Kyle Jones. And now Jones is not prone to stepping back to pass a lot. This is an offense that depends heavily on handing it off to their man, Edward Sadie.
And Edward Sadie is essentially, he is their workhorse, and as I said earlier, he is their go-to on offense.
But a fake to Sadie, and now Jones up the far sideline. A big first down. Flag is up. Might be a late hit out of bounds. And on the first play of the game for Kyle Jones, a huge pickup.
I think they definitely had us fooled, or at least they had me fooled. Kyle just does a good job of faking it to Sadie. I think that had everybody faked out, and then he just cuts it up the sideline. Just a great play design, a great play call to fool everybody.
Jones took it to the 37-yard line of Malvern, got pushed out of bounds, but a horse collar tackle adds 15 yards onto this one. Ball at the 20-yard line now of Malvern. So a hot start for both these offenses. As Penn
just one play for Penn Charter. They're already down in their own red zone.
They come out with 2 receivers split to the left on this play. Handoff to Sadie now, and he is taken down in the backfield, met by number 36, Joseph Carpenter.
And just a great job by the linebackers reading that draw play. And, Sadie, we know what he's capable of doing, but this is only the second play of the game. Being able to stuff him at the line of scrimmage is always a positive sign.
Well, with all the scoring Malvern Prep's done this season, their defense kind of gets forgotten about. We forget this is a squad led by Keith McGuire, who's going to Clemson next season.
And it's very hard for a defense to play well when they're on the field all the time, whether if it is due to the offense scoring or not.
Jones going to pass now, and his pass goes through the hands of Sadie, running an out route from the slot receiver position, and that will bring up third down and long. This is a money down for the Friars.
And a good job by the Malvern defense to tighten up a little bit once they enter their own red zone. Of course, they still have one more play to prove that, but nevertheless a great job by the Malvern defense containing.
They sniffed out that play. Pass target for Sadie. He was well covered. It'll be third down and 10. Jones with 2 receivers on both sides of the line. Sadie next to him in the backfield on his left. Jones looking, end zone, too high. Had a man open. It was number 9, Ryan Maloney, but the pass sailed over his head. That'll bring up fourth down.
Just over Ryan Maloney's head, and if it was about 6 inches or so shorter, it would have fallen into at least into his right hand that was up there trying to make the one-handed grab.
So on fourth down and 10 from the 20, the Quakers will bring out their kicking unit. It's going to be Ryan Holmes to take it. This will be a 37-yard attempt. Kick is up. It's low. No good. Underneath the crossbar.
Just underneath it, too.
So the Quakers get it all the way to the 20-yard line of Malvern Prep, but they come up scoreless.
It essentially looked like a 3-and-out drive with the exception of the opening play by Kyle Jones. So
Malvern Prep will send their offense out for the second time today, coming off of a 55 yard touchdown strike to Lonnie White. The Friars have 2 receivers to Gunther's right, 1 to his left.
That is Lonnie White's 4th touchdown reception on the year.
Lonnie White, just a sophomore and a talented one. Meanwhile, handoff to Watson, stiff arm as he runs towards the far sideline, out of bounds, close to the first down marker. And that is why you need to have Quincy Watson on the field as a flag flies now late.
That's the Quincy Watson that we've been waiting to see, but it looks like it might have been another taunting penalty. It seems as if Malvern is getting a little excited here, but again, we'll wait for the official.
Not sure what the call is. Watson, near the sideline, used his hand to extend on the defender. Not sure if they're saying that was delayed or perhaps there was a taunt after it. Ryan Iacone already got called for taunting on the first drive for Malvern, so we'll see here.
Dead ball foul. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
And it is another dead ball foul for unsportsmanlike conduct. It erases what looked to be close to a first down on the run by Watson, and now Malvern will have the ball. First and 17 now from their own 13-yard line.
That looks about right, Chris, and Coach Guerrera just cannot be happy. Given the opening score, he cannot be happy with those 2 early late ball fouls.
It's 3 receivers to Gunther's right now. Penn Charter originally showed pressure, didn't blitz. It's Iacone who has it. Iacone going to pick up a couple yards, but he is tackled just shy of the original line of scrimmage. That'll bring up 2nd down and 11.
Another slant route completion for Malvern Prep, but Iacone maybe would have wanted to get upfield just a few more yards, make it a 3rd and manageable rather than a 3rd and long.
Oh, so it is 3rd down and 12. The unsportsmanlike penalty wiped out that first down run, and they lost the down. So now 3rd down and 12 for Malvern. 3 receivers split to the right. Gunther going to look over the middle for McGuire. It is caught. He's tackled by Sadie at the 41-yard line, but a jump ball for McGuire. That's an area he's going to come down with the ball 90% of the time.
Absolutely, and that goes back to my point of Gunther wanting his receivers to win those 50-50 balls. And seeing McGuire and Sadie play against each other on both ends is going to be something really exciting to watch.
That's a good matchup to look after as Watson takes a handoff here, powers forward for a gain of 6 or 7. That'll set up 2nd down and short.
And Watson looks very good on his run so far in this game. 6 or 7 yards per rush so far, and this is just yet another weapon to add to this lethal Malvern offense.
They'll set up 2nd down and 4 now. Ball on the 48-yard line of Malvern. Gunther with 2 receivers split out to each side. He's going to fake a handoff, now throw it far sideline. That was intended for Lonnie White, but too far for him to run down. That brings up 3rd down and 4.
Just a little out of his reach, a play that the Friars could afford to try and complete, given that it is 4-down territory at this point.
3rd down and 4 now. Malvern just short of midfield. They're going to have 3 receivers to Gunther's right. It's McGuire, Iacone, and White.
We'll see if number 33, Brendan Thomas, is able to contain McGuire out on the edge.
But they hand it off instead to Watson. Watson goes left, has the 1st down and more as he is tackled inside the 40-yard line of the Quakers. Malvern is driving.
Hurdles the defender just to get a few extra yards. This is what Watson does. He wants to try and push forward as much as possible while also knowing that he doesn't want to do too much.
Quincy Watson, a dynamic back for the Friars. When he's out there, it's just a different team. And now Gunther going to be out at quarterback for a moment. Lonnie White will have a look.
This is interesting.
Sophomore receiver can also throw it. They will send in motion Watson. He gets the handoff, powering forward, tackled at about the 35-yard line for a gain of 3.
A nice little attempted trickery there. Lonnie White giving the sweep handoff to Watson.
Well, White, a receiver by trade, Josh, when we talked to Coach Guerrero before the season, he said we could see Lonnie White out there in that Wildcat formation because of his speed and his arm strength. They go back to Gunther now at the quarterback spot. McGuire lined up in the slot to his right. Excuse me, that was Iacone who goes in motion. And Iacone takes the handoff, going around the left side of the line, and he is forward, tackled just shy of the first-yard line. That'll set up 3rd down and inches.
And that's the second play in a row, and this time they just switched reverse field, and they're just chipping away little by little on this drive at this Penn Charter defense.
So 3rd down and short now. Handoff, it's Watson. He falls forward. Looks like it's going to be enough. They'll pick up another 1st down.
Just yet another opportunity to give Watson the ball and do what he's supposed to do. Do what he is meant to do on the field.
Malvern's had the ball for most of this first quarter. It's a 6-0 lead. Friars scored on a touchdown by Lonnie White, a 55-yard strike on a slant route that came on the opening drive.
And this is where Malvern's going to excel, Chris. They're going to try and keep the ball as long as possible, keep their defense off the field, keep them rested and well fresh.
Gunther looking deep, close sideline. McGuire went up for it with one hand, couldn't catch it, but a flag flies. It looks like they're going to get Matthew Marshall. What are your thoughts on that call, Josh?
That is, it's very hard to interpret that play, Chris, just simply because if McGuire does end up coming down with the ball, then Marshall has every reason to hit him. But it's just a very, very tough call simply because of the interpretation or the determining of whether or not the receiver is going to come down with the ball. And I think the official just wanted to play it safe there.
But it looks like they will now pick up the flag. So no pass interference or late hit call on McGuire. That'll set up 2nd down and 10, and I think that was the right call there, Josh.
I think so too. I understand referees are trying to be a little preventive and keep the players as safe as possible. But definitely a great decision to pick up the flag there. Was not excessive in any way.
So the PI is picked up. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Malvern has the ball on the Quakers' 25-yard line. In motion goes Iacone, but it's a handoff to Guerrera. Guerrera up the middle, and he has the 1st down. So Guerrera, the second back now that Watson is healthy and back on the field. But you liked him, Josh. You liked him going into this one to get some mixed looks against this Penn Charter squad.
I thought Nick Guerrera has done an amazing job filling in that void for Watson, and a great play call there to get the defense going to the left, but instead they hand it off to Guerrera, and he is able to pick up a 1st down, and that's just a great play call. Great fool.
1st down for Malvern. They're in the red zone. It's going to be a pitch to Watson. Going forward, has space for the end zone, and he walks in. Trucks the defender on his path for the goal line, and it's a 2-touchdown lead now for the Friars.
Just an absolutely amazing run there. Bulldozes his way into the end zone. He doesn't even fall down. He is just unfazed by what's in front of him, and he's just a determined football player.
Well, here it is again on the replay. A hurdle and then boom. Knocks a man down.
He looked like the defender there trying to lay the hit.
He did. That is a very, very nice piece of running there by Watson. So now to take the extra point is Constantini. He missed on his first extra point attempt. This one is up, and it's straight through. It's a 13-0 lead for the Malvern Prep Friars.
And through about 7.5 minutes of play here at Penn Charter, Malvern Prep has dominated this game so far. They have had 2 drives compared to Penn Charter's 1, but in that red zone on the first drive for Malvern's defense, they did a good job tightening up. And it's going to be up to Penn Charter on this next drive to try and make it a ball game.
Well, Malvern's had the ball with time of possession for most of the first quarter. And as you mentioned, Josh, Penn Charter, they had a nice first play on that drive initially. Right. They had Jones on a fake handoff pick up a huge gain. They got a penalty afterwards, but then their offense stalled on the 20-yard line.
And I think that was largely in part due to the Malvern defense making some adjustments, tightening up a little bit. They knew they didn't have a lot of field to work with. They did a good job of keeping the receivers contained, not letting the passing game get going. I think Malvern's aware of what Edward Sadie is going to do. They're going to try and give him his stuff, but limit everyone else. That's always usually the strategy when you have a player like Sadie on the other squad.
It's a 13-0 lead now for the Malvern Prep Friars alongside Josh Abrams. I'm Christopher Markowitz. We're here at McGuire Field on the campus of Penn Charter. The first Interact game for both these squads this season. Malvern off to the start they wanted. Sadie back to return this kick. It's another squib picked up by Marshall. Marshall pushes forward to about the 30-yard line where he is tackled. So back-to-back times on kickoffs, Josh, that Malvern is refusing to kick off to Sadie.
I think that's obviously the strategy. Usually teams don't do that simply because their special teams can't cover or they can't tackle or something along those lines. I think you're right, Chris. They want to keep the ball out of Sadie's hands as much as they possibly can.
Sadie's a dangerous man as a returnman, as a rusher. He came into today with 70 rushing attempts, 768 yards, so he's averaging more than 10 yards an attempt. Meanwhile, bad snap, and Jones is going to be taken down in the backfield for a sack. It was Guerrera and Carpenter in on the effort there, so a bad snap, and Penn Charter moving in the wrong direction.
And this Malvern defense, as you said earlier, Chris, doesn't get a lot of credit that it should get, but they're definitely going to hop on those mistakes. And you can't make mistakes against a Malvern Prep team that has an absolutely dynamic offense. Do not want to give them good field position.
So it'll be 2nd down and 19 now for the Quakers. Jones going to fake the handoff, and now he's met in the backfield. So back-to-back negative plays for the Quakers. This is going to set up 3rd down at about 22.
And Demir Brown was initially the one who made the stop on Sadie. So Malvern getting a lot of contributions up front and from their defensive backs on run stoppage.
3rd and 22 now for the Quakers. And it was Sadie who took the handoff. I thought Jones faked the handoff there, but good spot by you, Josh. This will force the Quakers to probably go in a pass here. We'll see if they set up a screen. 3 receivers to their right. Jones looking. Doesn't go for the screen pass. Instead hits number 33, Brendan Thomas. He gets back to the original line of scrimmage, but that will bring up 4th down. Quakers electing to punt.
And at that point, there's really nothing you can do but try to make it a manageable 4th down. You don't want to be punting from too deep into your own territory. But I think the overall message here is that Malvern Prep is ready to play, and they're not taking any prisoners.
So this will be another 3 and out. Excuse me, the first 3 and out for the Quakers. Lonnie White back to receive for Malvern. Punt is blocked. Could be a touchdown here. It's picked up by the freshman, D'Angelo Stocker, and he is in. A 3-touchdown lead now for the Friars. They are pouring it on in quarter number 1.
They're doing it on all facets, Chris. They're stopping them on defense. They are pounding them on offense. And then why not have a little bit of special teams action here?
Well, we're going to get another look at it on the replay here. D'Angelo Stocker, the lone freshman on this Friars squad.
And he just comes in out of nowhere, Chris. The blockers are able to pick up one Malvern special teams player, but Stocker, he just flies in out of nowhere. Great play by the athletic freshman.
Constantini to take the extra point. The kick is up, and it is good. A 20-0 lead now for the Friars with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go. And Josh, this one's getting out of hand fast.
Absolutely, Chris. We saw in the beginning of the game with the early penalties, the little mental mistakes from both teams, we were wondering how close it was going to be, wonder how much of a game it is. But as of right now, it is all Malvern Prep. And, again, it's going to be up to Penn Charter to try and at least carve into this lead a little bit, because once you give Malvern a lead like this, it's very, very difficult to come back.
Well, still plenty of time as we have 2 minutes, 20 seconds to go in the first quarter, but this doesn't play well against Penn Charter's strength. Their strength is running the ball. Now, when you have a running attack that is so dynamic, that takes time off the clock. So as you have larger leads to overcome later in games, you have to go more towards the pass. What does Penn Charter have to do to get back into this game in the first half so they don't end up in a situation where they can't go to the ground attack in half number 2?
Well, as much as you want to put the weight and the pressure on Edward Sadie, he's not the only player on this team that is capable of making those kinds of plays. Penn Charter's going to need a turnover. I mean, that's just the simple fact.
Meanwhile, kickoff again squibbed. They're staying away from Sadie. Marshall picks it up, running to the right, trying to get some positive yards. He is tackled at the 20-yard line of the Quakers.
You think he maybe should have let that go out of bounds, Chris? It looked like it was awfully close.
I was going to ask you that question, Josh. It might have taken a hop to the left, but I don't know if Marshall was concerned that it might have actually, the way it bounced, maybe it would have stayed in bounds and then could have been down inside the 10. So this will be the third drive for the Quakers now. Jones with 2 receivers to his right, 1 to his left. Sadie going to take the handoff. He goes up the middle, still going, chugging for a gain of 2. Was initially met in the backfield, but he kept going for a gain there.
And Malvern's linebackers, their front four, they're just doing such a great job of closing up the lanes that Penn Charter's offensive line is opening for Sadie. And you wonder how much longer Sadie's going to be able to take getting clobbered by 5 or 6 Malvern defenders. It's becoming so hard to point out who tackles them anymore.
It'll be 2nd down and 6 now, so Sadie did pick up a bunch of yards there, being met initially at the line of scrimmage. Jones going to set up a pass here. It's a screen for Sadie. And now he is met by a sea of white, but the first man in on the effort was John Turley.
And obviously he doesn't look happy that he missed that tackle. But why would you be unhappy? You have a Malvern defense that has your back. And again, becoming so difficult to tell who's making the tackle. Malvern's defenders are just flying on the ball.
So no gain on the play. It sets up 3rd down and 7. So they actually lost a yard there, did the Quakers. They come out with 2 receivers to the right and left of Jones. Sadie in the backfield. Jones looking right. Pass is complete, and this is going to be a 1st down. Brendan Thomas on the reception, his 2nd catch of the day, and he has it for a 1st down. The Quakers avoiding a 3-and-out.
And then if this drive can turn out successful for the Quakers, it'll be that play right there will be a very, very missed play. It'll be forgotten.
Keeps the drive alive. 30 seconds to go in the first quarter. Clock running. Jones, handoff to Sadie, up the middle. Sadie still on his feet. There he goes on the far sideline. An incredible run by Sadie. Pushed out of bounds near the 30-yard line, but not before a huge gain.
How many times, how often is it where you think a defender's down 2 different times, or the runner, rather, is down 2 different times?
As here it is on the replay.
That was where I initially thought he went down. His body is falling towards the grass, but how does he stay up? That is just remarkable by Sadie.
Sadie, a senior heading to Temple next year. I can't wait to see him on the college scene. An impressive running back for this Quaker squad, the all-time leader in rushing yards in program history. Going to get another handoff here. Goes to the right and picks up about 4. So Sadie doing all he can to keep the Quakers in this game.
Yeah, anytime you can get 4 or 5 yards per play. But anytime you can have yardage like that against a Malvern team, given how this first quarter has gotten, what we just saw from Sadie specifically is very promising for Penn Charter.
Sadie's carry there is going to take us to the end of the quarter. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, second quarter action on SFBN.
Welcome to Granite Run Buick GMC. Here's what some of our customers have to say.
It's more of a family atmosphere here.
Thank you, Granite Run.
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 If you're in the market for a new car or truck, do what I did. Go see my friend Ryan Irish and his team at Granite Run Buick GMC. These guys are the best.
And that's why we welcome you to Granite Run.
Visit us in person or online at graniterun.com.
Welcome back to McGuire Field on the campus of Penn Charter. Alongside Josh Abrams, I'm Chris Markowitz. We're going to use this time to send it down to Lisa Roman on the sideline. Lisa, what do you got for us?
Well, we knew tonight's game was going to be high scoring with Malvern Prep's dynamic offense, but the blitz coming from Penn Charter. And on the Penn Charter side, Eddie Sadie is their attacking, dynamic, offensive player, and Malvern has shut him down just until the last 2 drives of that first quarter. Chris?
Lisa, thank you so much. Malvern has done a good job of picking up the blitz, but Sadie getting hot here the last couple of carries for the Quakers. Josh, Sadie, when he gets a rhythm, is nearly impossible to take down.
And I think that's really what Penn Charter needs to start doing in order to try and carve into this lead here. They need to try and get him going, and if they can, maybe balance it out a little bit, stretch out the field with a few passes. But Sadie is the head honcho in terms of leading this offense.
It'll be 3rd down and 7 after a 3-yard carry by Sadie. Jones going to take the snap, hand it off, but Sadie met in the backfield by McGuire. So Keith McGuire got there almost before Sadie took the handoff.
Yeah, we saw three Malvern defenders, including McGuire, as we look at the replay here.
And that is going to be our All-American Sporting Goods hard hit of the game. We'll get a chance to look at that for a moment. That's our All-American Sporting Goods hard hit of the game. For all your sports equipment and apparel, shop at All-American Sporting Goods, located on the corner of Cotman and Tabor in Northeast Philadelphia. For more information, call 215-342-6141. Action on the field now. This is going to be close to a first down. It was Brendan Thomas. We'll see if they give it to him on the 4th down effort there. And they do. Big first down pickup.
Almost reminds you of the drive Malvern had, first drive of the game against Penn Charter.
So a huge first down there for the Quakers. Two receivers to the right of Jones now. And he's going to hand it off Sadie going to the left, but met at the line of scrimmage. A sea of white meets him there. No gain for Sadie.
I think we're going to see that a lot tonight, Chris. I think it's very evident and obvious that one person taking down Edward Sadie is just simply not going to happen. So we're going to see a lot of collective efforts from Malvern's defense trying to contain him.
Tough guy to bring down. Kind of makes you think about Saquon Barkley last night. I know a big win for the Eagles, but Saquon could not be brought to the ground.
Or if we may see that kind of performance.
So we have a timeout on the field, and while we have a chance, we're going to take a look again at that hard hit play of the game. Here it is on the replay, that tackle by McGuire. Once again, Josh, that's a big reason why you're going to see him in a Clemson uniform next season.
Harry Stinger was also in on that tackle too, and yeah, you're right, Chris. This Malvern defense is just not giving in at all, even up 20. And I think that's just one of the best mentalities to have, is to continue to play like you're down 20-0, even though you're up.
Once again, that hit by McGuire is tonight's All-American Sporting Goods hard hit of the game. For all your sports equipment and apparel, shop at All-American Sporting Goods, located at the corner of Cotman and Tabor in Northeast Philadelphia. For more information, please call 215-342-6141. Coming out of the timeout, it'll be 2nd down and 10 for Penn Charter. They're on the 21-yard line of the Friars. Two receivers to the right of Jones. Sadie on his left in the backfield. Handoff, Sadie. Fake handoff. Jones goes up the middle again. And he is met by a sea of defenders. Ball came out, but after the whistle, that's the 2nd time now, Josh, that Jones has fooled everyone in this stadium on a fake handoff.
And it's funny because they did that on the first play of the game, and I think a lot of people were expecting the ball to be handed off to Sadie. And I wasn't sure how often they were going to try and trick us like that, but they certainly tricked me.
So it'll be 3rd down and 3 now after a 7-yard pickup by Jones. He'll send 2 receivers to his right. Sadie behind him in the backfield. It'll be a fake handoff again. Jones up the middle, still going, fighting for the goal line, and he is in. So Kyle Jones rumbles into the end zone. It's the first score of the game for the Quakers.
I don't think a lot of people would have guessed that Kyle Jones would have scored the first touchdown of the game for Penn Charter, but nevertheless, another impressive run by Jones. It's the 3rd time we've seen him scamper like that, and he has just done a tremendous job, kind of being his right-hand man almost.
Well, he came in today as the second lead rusher for the Quakers. Extra point is good. Came off the foot of Ryan Holmes.
You see Kyle Jones just bounce off of multiple defenders there, and you have to wonder if Dave Guerrera, the head coach for Malvern Prep, maybe you have to talk some sense into his defense, try and wrap up a little bit better.
Well, they also have to do a better job of sniffing out Jones, as that's 3 times in this half of play, Josh, that Jones has faked out everybody on the Malvern Prep defense when going to hand off and then taking himself instead of giving the ball to Sadie.
It's a great decoy because everyone has their eyes. Everyone's attention goes right to Sadie. But when Kyle Jones is able to bounce off like that, it's almost an underrated aspect of Penn Charter's offense.
Jones came in today with 34 rushes on the year, averaging just under 4 yards a carry, but today all 3 of his rushes have been big gains. The shortest one for 7 yards. The longest one was that huge gain on the first play of the game for the Quakers, and now he scores a big 15-yard touchdown to get Penn Charter on the board in the second quarter.
And the 13-point lead for Malvern Prep, and they're just going to have to keep on churning out those chunkage of yards on offense in order to really tire down Penn Charter.
Ryan Holmes to kick off for the Quakers now. Back to receive is Lonnie White and Cade Zostic. 9 minutes, 1 second to go in the second quarter. Alongside Josh Abrams, I'm Christopher Markowitz. This is going to be a squib kick. Zostic picks it up. Nice move there, and now he'll be tackled out across the 36-yard line. It was Muhammad Harris making the play.
Good field position for Malvern to start this drive here.
Malvern's had the ball 3 times before this, and on all 3 of their drives, they have it 2 times, as the third score was on a punt block and a recovery for a touchdown. But Malvern Prep, both drives they had the ball, looked very easy for this Friar squad.
And I think from a fan standpoint, are we going to see a defensive touchdown too? Because that's the 3 different kinds that you can score.
While Gunther, fake handoff, has his man. That's Tyji Leach on a slant route. He's stopped, but he has a gain of 6.
Tyji Leach, the second leading receiving yard guy on this Malvern Prep team, and certainly a key weapon in this offense.
Leach is a big play type of receiver. We've seen him have a couple of receptions that have gone for 50-yard scores this season.
Against McDonough, he had a typical, I guess you could say, a Deshaun Jackson type of stat line. 3 receptions, 132 yards, and a score. So obviously those numbers there show how much of a big play guy he is.
It'll be 2nd down and 3 now for the Friars. They're going to hand it off. It's Watson going up the middle, taking Sadie on his back, still going. Tackled at the 42-yard line of Penn Charter, and Watson showing what he could do.
Such a patient run there, Chris. He finds the hole, and he just bursts right through it. And then once he starts to get wrapped up, it almost seems as if he's just very adamant in terms of getting out of that.
And I think
a determined run by Watson.
I think he noticed, too, he had Sadie on his back there at the end, powering through, and then had something to say to the running back of Penn Charter. Just a nice matchup to see, these 2 guys going at it. It'll be 1st and 10 now for the Friars. Pass is complete. That is Tyler Tinson. Gets a block by Lonnie White, and he is free for a touchdown. So Tyler Tinson scores. It's a 42-yarder, and the lead back up to 19 for the Friars.
And if I'm not mistaken, Chris, is that Lonnie White's second touchdown reception of the day?
Well, it was Tinson, as you're going to see
Tinson,
here.
excuse me, I'm sorry.
Now, White sets it up with a nice block there. Tyler Tinson, the junior from Romansville, broke free. A great block by White to set it up, though.
Absolutely, and Penn Charter was bringing the rush there. You can see the linebackers essentially lining up with the front four, and that just left the field wide open for Tinson.
So now Malvern Prep going to go for 2 here. Tinson goes in motion. Fake handoff to him. Pass is broken up at the line of scrimmage. It was intended for White. So the extra point, the 2-point conversion, is no good. They were trying to make up for the missed extra point on the first touchdown. It's a 26-7 lead now for the Friars.
And that's one of those this is one of those situations, Chris, where you don't need to worry necessarily about the 2 points, the extra points. You're up 3 scores. So it's just a very dominant showing so far by Malvern, and I don't think a lot of people were expecting anything less.
Passing game has looked solid for the Friars. Some big plays from their offense. On the first drive, White with a 55-yard receiving score. Tinson on this last drive with a 42-yard strike. What adjustments does Penn Charter have to make defensively, Josh, to slow down the passing attack for the Friars?
It's very tough to tell, Chris, because Gunther, as I mentioned earlier, is able to throw the ball up for the 50-50, which is most likely going to come down to Malvern. But at the same time, the Malvern starting to get their ground game going, as we saw with Guerrera and Watson. And from a coach's standpoint, I don't know how I can contain 6, 7, maybe 8 players on that Malvern Prep offense that just is able to break away.
It's a well-balanced team. No surprise when you look at their 6-0 record. It's their first Interact game here today. They're the defending Interact champions. Went undefeated in conference play last season as the ball falls off the tee thanks to the wind. So Constantini will have to set it back up again. We'll see if he sends it away this time. They've been squib kicking it, trying to avoid Sadie. Don't want to let him get a return.
You talk about Malvern Prep's 1-4 record in non-conference play last year, and obviously they're undefeated right now. But they've played some very tough teams with the likes of Roman and LaSalle.
As the ball was on the ground by Sadie, and he will be tackled at his own 5-yard line. So
that's not going to help you at all. If you want to try and carve into this lead, you got to do everything right, especially against a Malvern Prep team that's already put up 26 points. And they don't look like they're going to stop anytime soon. So Prep Charter is in desperation mode right now.
Penn Charter, A misplayed kickoff there sets up the Quakers on their own 6-yard line. It's already a 19-point lead for the Friars. Now Sadie was getting it going on his last drive. Jones was looking good on some fake handoffs. We'll see how they get creative here. It's going to be a handoff to number 30, Marshall, up the middle. Big gain there as he's tackled at the 21-yard line of the Quakers.
That's got to be nice to see if you're Penn Charter, because it just shows that you're not just feeding Sadie all night.
For Marshall, it is the 16th carry of the season. Had just 15 for 60 yards coming into today. Marshall, one of their leading receiving targets, but nice to see him getting involved in the ground game here. First down for the Quakers. Jones going to hand off, and fighting for yards again is Marshall. Short gain there.
And perhaps giving Sadie a little bit of a break.
It was Nicholas Guerrera in on the defensive effort. He brought Marshall to the ground. It was a 3-yard gain. That'll set up 2nd down and 7. 6 minutes, 33 seconds to go in the half. Alongside Josh Abrams, I'm Christopher Markowitz. Malvern Prep's offense has been on full display in the first half of this game. Penn Charter trying to fight back into it. Jones with 2 receivers to his right. He's going to fake a handoff to Sadie. Close sideline, has a man. Pushed out of bounds is Aaron Mayone. Short gain there. It'll set up 3rd down.
Back to what I was saying earlier, Chris, about Malvern coming through in their non-conference games. They played tough teams, 2 Catholic League teams in Roman and LaSalle. They had to travel to McDonough in Maryland, and they went out and beat them. These non-conference games are probably the most important part of the schedule, just simply because it shows you can go out of your conference, out of the state even, for Malvern Prep and beat good football teams.
And the Berks Catholic game, a huge comeback victory for them as well.
How could I forget about that?
Meanwhile, 3rd down and 3. Jones going to fake a pass, scramble forward. He has the first down and more. Out of bounds across the 40-yard line. He keeps the drive alive.
Does a great job of faking the throw as he's running to his right. Gets the defender to bite, and that's all he needs to just get a few yards, as you see here on the replay.
Yeah, here it is again. As you mentioned, Josh, that fake pass got the defender to commit to him, and then he scampers up the sideline for a big gain there.
And Jones knew once he got him to commit that he would be able to have some daylight.
So now Penn Charter will have it on the 43-yard line. They're on their own side of the field. Clock is stopped with 5 minutes and 59 seconds to go in the half. Jones with Marshall and Sadie in the backfield. It's going to be a handoff to Marshall, but he is met immediately by number 90, Kevin White. No gain on the play.
And immediately White was on Sadie. They knew where he was going. The halfback draw, tries to cut through the tackles, but White does a good job of containing him, only holding him to a yard gain.
So it'll be 2nd down and 9 now. It's a 19-point lead for the Friars. Penn Charter comes out with a 4-receiver set. Sadie, the lone back. Jones has time here. Going to roll to his left. Penalty flag flies, might be a holding. Pass is incomplete anyway. It was Marcellus Poland. The intended receiver couldn't come up with it. But this will be a penalty flag on Penn Charter, and it will be accepted by the Friars. This will push the Quakers back towards their own end zone.
I hope I'm correct here, but it looks like number 72 on Penn Charter, Tyler Needham, just threw down the Malvern Prep defender, and that's what left Jones all that open field. Not as much pressure as you would have expected, but just a bit of a big mistake there, as we have a nice chunk of yards to gain back for Penn Charter.
So it's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, which was 8 yards deep in the backfield of the Quakers. So this sets up 2nd down and 28 now for the Quakers. The ball has been moved back to their own 25-yard line. 1st down will be on the other end of the field at the 48-yard marker. It's going to be a fake handoff by Jones. He goes up the middle. That play's been successful. Picks up some nice yardage out to the 35-yard line of Penn Charter.
And that's the idea there when you're in a 2nd and really long, is you just want to try and make up as much of the yardage as you can. And now it is a 3rd and long, but we'll see what Penn Charter has up their sleeve here. A big conversion here would essentially change the momentum, at least of the half.
Ball is on the 35-yard line of the Quakers. They have to get it to the other side of the field. They have to get it to the 47 of Malvern to pick up the 1st down. 3rd and 18. Jones has time, avoids a rusher. Now steps up, throws it deep, and it is caught by Marshall. Great patience in the backfield. Marshall has his progression stopped, but he has the 1st down.
Just a great scamper there by Kyle Jones. He rolls out. He's looking for the best man open and available. And Marshall, again, just comes down with it.
We'll see it on the replay in just a moment. A huge 1st down pickup. Here's Jones firing the deep ball to Marshall, who was open. Comes down with it, moves the chains, but it was Jones in the backfield setting that pass up, keeping the play alive.
And the cornerback for Malvern was just a split second late. If he was there earlier, he would have been able to pick it off.
Now Sadie takes the carry, has a good gain there, got about 5 or 6. It'll set up 2nd down. So Sadie has looked impressive yet again for this Penn Charter squad.
And I think Penn Charter is starting to think about letting Sadie take over once they get in Malvern Prep's territory. We saw on the beginning of this drive, they're letting Marshall and Jones work their way into this territory, and now I think it's time for Sadie.
Ball is now on the 39-yard line of Malvern Prep. This is a drive that started on Penn Charter's 6-yard line after a misplayed kick return. Jones going to fake a handoff. He has time. Going to roll to his right. Fire deep for Marshall. Quarterback slipped. Marshall has it. Still on his feet. Powering forward. And now he'll be tackled at the 5. Ty G. Leach slipped on the coverage. Otherwise, it might have been picked off.
Absolutely.
But Marshall has it for a huge gain.
And that just goes to show you one little mishap like that can change the entire picture of the play. And while this is just a small sample size of the game, that is a huge, huge pickup.
Well, here it is again on the replay. Jones faked the handoff to Sadie, had a lot of time, stepped to his right, delivered the deep ball, which was a little bit underthrown to Marshall. But we'll see if we could see that's out of your screen. Leach tripped up, and then Marshall picked up a couple extra yards, tackled at the 5-yard line. This sets up the Quakers with 1st and goal. And this will be taken on the ground by Sadie, but met by a sea of white. No gain on the play. 2 minutes, 20 seconds to go in the half.
Sadie almost broke off that first tackle and was able to plunge in, but Malvern's defense, again, doing a good job of stiffening up a little bit.
2nd down and goal now from the 4, so perhaps a half-yard gain there for Sadie. This has been an impressive drive thus far.
Absolutely.
71 yards on this drive have been because of Marshall, whether it's been handoff or reception. So a big drive for Matthew Marshall. Handoff now to him, but he is met in the backfield. A lot of tacklers there. McGuire in on that effort alongside Guerrera. Loss of about 2 there. It'll set up 3rd down and 6 from the goal.
And an absolutely amazing job of Malvern's defense. It looks like we have a player down here for Malvern, and that's going to be number 25, Michael Hussey, senior linebacker out of Media.
Hussey, a big part of this defense for the Friars. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, Penn Charter threatening late in the first half.
Welcome to Granite Run Buick GMC. Here's what some of our customers have to say.
There's more of a family atmosphere here.
Thank you, Granite Run.
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 If you're in the market for a new car or truck, do what I did. Go see my friend Ryan Irish and his team at Granite Run Buick GMC. These guys are the best.
And that's why we welcome you to Granite Run.
Visit us in person or online at graniterun.com.
Welcome back to McGuire Field. Alongside Josh Abrams, I'm Christopher Markowitz. 3rd down and goal. 8 yards away from the end zone are the Quakers.
This could be the play of the game, Chris.
Fake handoff. It's going to be Jones up the middle, and he is tackled. Brought down by number 42, Cade Zostic, in on the blitz. We'll see what Penn Charter does here. Will they kick it or go for the score? I think they're going to kick it as Ryan Holmes comes onto the field.
And that looks to be the case. And if you're Penn Charter, you just need to try and get as many points up as you possibly can. They had a missed field goal earlier. But other than that, Chris, I think this is really only the 3rd scoring opportunity for Penn Charter all half.
Kick is up, and it is straight through. It's got to feel good for Holmes. He missed his first attempt, as you mentioned. But this one is good. That cuts the lead down to 16, so a 2-touchdown game now. 47 seconds to go in the first half. Chris Markowitz alongside Josh Abrams. Josh, Penn Charter looked a little distraught early on. It was a 20-0 start for the Friars. But the Quakers have looked alive on the last couple of drives. What have you liked from them the last quarter of play?
Well, they're doing a good job, Chris, of doing what Malvern did to them and just pounding the ball and using their plethora of weapons in order to try and exploit this Malvern defense. And we've seen Malvern do that successfully. And I think Penn Charter's starting to get the hang of it a little bit too.
It was a 14-play drive that the Quakers just went on. It started from their own 6-yard line. They went 94 yards.
94, 95 yards or so.
Took a lot of time off the clock as
It really
well.
did.
Holmes going to kick off. Back to receive is White and Zostic.
And if I remember correctly, Penn Charter's going to get the ball to start the second half. And assuming they can hold Malvern Prep to just this 26 points, Penn Charter could make it interesting.
Ball on the far sideline on the kickoff. No gain on the return, but it was a short kick, so it'll be possession to the Friars on their own 33-yard line. Now Malvern has their timeouts, so they have a chance here to potentially score again before we go to the half.
They should have at least 2 timeouts. I wasn't sure if they lost a timeout on the injury, but 42 seconds should be plenty of time for this kind of offense.
They're going to go with an empty backfield here. 3 receivers to the left of Gunther, 2 to his right. It's been a hot first half for the senior quarterback. Gunther rolling to his right. Saw pressure initially. He's going to run it. Gunther out of bounds. Has the first down. Clock is going to stop. An 11-yard pickup for Gunther. Doesn't run often, but it's a good pickup there for him.
He just saw the pocket collapse and knew that he wanted to get at least some positive yardage, enough to propel them closer and closer to field goal territory, if possible.
So it'll be first down now for Malvern. They're on their own 44-yard line. 34 seconds remaining in the half. Friars trying to get one final score on the board before we go to halftime. 2 receivers to the left and right of Gunther. Watson lining up in the backfield. Gunther looking left. Pressure, gets it off. Intended for Iacone on a corner. Incomplete. And now Edward Sadie comes up with a limp.
Oh, boy.
Not the man you want to see hurt if you're the Quakers. Sadie holding his right leg. 28 seconds to go in the half. Training staff to help him here. We're going to take a break. Edward Sadie making it towards his own sideline under his own power. Good sign for the Quakers as he was a bit shaken up on that last play. Chris Markowitz alongside Josh Abrams. It'll be second down and 10 now for the Friars. Ball on their own 44-yard line. They tried a corner route completion to Iacone. It was overthrown by Gunther. That's why we have second down now. 3 receivers to Gunther's left, 1 to his right. Gunther going to hit Watson in the backfield. Watson will run out of bounds. Gain of 5. This clock is stopped with 21.6 seconds remaining. Third down and 5 now for the Friars. Ball just short of midfield. This is a Friars offense that has scored 3 touchdowns in the first half. We've seen some big passing plays from them. They got an empty backfield now. 3 receivers to Gunther's right. He sets up a screen pass. Complete to White. White getting some good blocks, and he is tackled at the 34-yard line of Penn Charter. Timeout here for the Friars with 13.8 to go. Nice play there by Malvern Prep.
Absolutely, and a great play there. You saw the defense, the offensive line get out and make the blocks on the linebackers and the cornerbacks. And any time on that kind of play, when you get that kind of blocking, and with a player like Lonnie White with all of that speed, he wasn't able to break loose, but he does have that potential every time everyone does their assignments.
Ball on the 33-yard line now of Penn Charter, so a little bit out of field goal range for the senior Constantini. He does have, as Coach Guerrero says, a Division I leg, and they will potentially try from 50 yards if they can. But I'm sure if you're Malvern, you don't want to try that long a field goal. A lot of bad things can go wrong.
Sure.
You can get it blocked. It can get returned for a touchdown, and that's the last thing you want, as you've dominated most of the first half, but Penn Charter making a late surge.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting here in these last 14 seconds, Chris, to see what Dave Guerrero wants to do. Does he want to try and go for the end zone, or does he just simply want to get it in field goal range enough for Constantini?
Whistle here. Timeout going to be by Penn Charter now. So Malvern took a timeout to stop the clock. Penn Charter doesn't like what they see with their defensive look, so they'll call a timeout. 13.8 to go. Chris Markowitz alongside Josh Abrams. Malvern came out with a 5-receiver set. Perhaps the Quakers weren't ready for it. So they'll talk it over on their sideline. It's been a good one here in Philadelphia. Malvern got out to an early 20-0 lead, but the Quakers have figured it out on offense. Kyle Jones, the junior quarterback, having a big day, both on the ground and through the air. And Matthew Marshall has emerged, just a sophomore for this Quakers team, listed at 5'8" and 160 pounds. He's made some big plays for them. Obviously, Edward Sadie doing what he usually does, but it's been Marshall and Jones today.
They were, I guess, the dark horses, you could say, coming into this game. Certainly doing a good job of taking some of the weight off of Sadie's shoulders.
Both teams back on the field now. First down and 10 for the Friars on the 33 of Penn Charter. Gunther, empty backfield. 3 receivers to his left, 2 to his right. Gunther with plenty of time. Going to lob it down the far sideline, but a step too far out in front of Lonnie White.
Just out of the reach of Lonnie White. And Guerrero went with the second option that I brought up before this play was run, where he was going for the end zone. And with the second down and 10 from about the 33, 34-yard line, and you have to wonder what's going through Dave Guerrero's head right now.
Well, 8 seconds to go in the half. You do have a timeout if you're Malvern, so you could set up a shorter field goal if you go quick strike over the middle. Empty backfield again for Malvern Prep. 3 defensive backs for Penn Charter. It's dumped off to Watson, and he is tackled at the 15. Clock is stopped with 0.3 seconds to go. Malvern going to burn their final timeout. So a timeout for the Friars. A big pickup there, a first down. Sets up Malvern with the ball on the 16-yard line of Penn Charter. So this will be about a 33-yard attempt for the Friars.
And certainly at this point in the game, when you know that Penn Charter is starting to figure things out on offense, you're going to want to try and pad the lead as much as possible. And simply getting a field goal would help things out. It would get the 3 points back that Penn Charter. The 3 points that Penn Charter got, I think that's simply what Guerrero wants to get back now.
It's going to be about a 33-yard attempt. For Constantini, this is a makeable range. John Boyle to hold. Constantini's kick is up.
Has the range.
Straight through. The field goal is good off the foot of Constantini. It's a 29-10 lead for the Friars. They'll go to halftime with a 19-point advantage. Josh, your final thoughts on the first half?
Just a great display of offense from Penn Charter. You wish you would have seen a little bit more of that. Great display of offense from Malvern Prep. Wish you would have seen a little bit more of that from Penn Charter. Nevertheless, I'm expecting a grueling second half and a determined Quaker squad to try and cut into this lead.
We're going to take a break now for the half, but when we come back, Josh Abrams and I will recap the first half. You're watching Malvern Prep football on SFBN. Welcome back to McGuire Field. Lisa Roman is standing by with head coach Guerrera. Lisa, what do you have for us?
Running game was successful. What were you doing so well?
I think it started up front with our linemen. I think they're doing a really good job with the run game, but I think Drew Gunther is just being an unbelievable player, spreading the ball around to all his weapons. So I think he's really been on point, so far. But I think I give credit to the offensive line; they're doing a great job.
For Penn Charter, they have Eddie Sadie, who is their attacking force. What have you done to contain him?
Well, I mean, he's gotten a couple, but we're just trying to swarm and just trying to limit him. He's an unbelievable running back, and it takes more than one guy to take him down. So we're just trying to swarm and be fast to the ball, and try to limit his cutbacks.
Thank you, Coach. Chris?
Lisa, thank you so much. It's halftime, the end of halftime here at McGuire Field. Alongside Josh Abrams, I'm Christopher Markowitz. It's a 29-10 lead for Malvern Prep and Josh. Drew Gunther, as Lisa was talking about with Coach Guerrera a few moments ago. A big first half for him, 2 touchdown passes and some big strikes for him. A 55-yarder to Lonnie White and a 42-yarder to Tyler Tinson.
Yeah, and it seems as if how Drew Gunther goes is the way that this Malvern Prep team goes, especially on offense. Given all of the weapons that he has, he's done all season, done an amazing job of spreading the wealth, sharing the ball with his teammates, and it's beautiful to see that, especially on a high school level, where kids are just always trying to do the best for themselves. But this Malvern Prep team is a team-driven mindset.
Now, for those of you watching at home who are just joining us, it was a 20-0 lead early on for the Friars. They scored on the first drive of the game, missed the extra point on that, but then they forced a giveaway. They forced a giveaway by Penn Charter, who went for it. A field goal on the 20-yard line, missed that field goal. Then they went down and scored again, did the Friars. On Penn Charter's next drive, they went 3 and out, tried a punt. It was blocked and returned for a touchdown by the freshman D'Angelo Stocker. That got the lead up to 20-0. At that point, Penn Charter started to wake up their offense, got into it. A touchdown score came by Kyle Jones, who's looked impressive on some fake handoffs. Penn Charter was able to score again on a field goal attempt, but the Friars got another touchdown from Tyler Tinson and then ended the half with a field goal from their man, Sebastian Constantini. We currently sit at 29-10. Penn Charter will have the ball to start the second half.
And that's going to be huge, simply because this is the opportunity. This is probably the sole opportunity at the beginning of the second half for Penn Charter to get their offense going. And it's all going to matter about what happens on this drive. If Penn Charter comes out firing and they're hot, then we could see a whole new second half compared to what we saw in the first half.
Christopher Markowitz alongside Josh Abrams, SFBN bringing you coverage of today's Malvern Prep Penn Charter game, the first inter-rec matchup on the schedule for both these squads. Malvern Prep, the defending champs of the inter-rec. They're off to a 6-0 start this season, all those games in non-conference play. Penn Charter came in today with just 1 loss, looking to end an 11-year drought against the Friars, but Malvern has a 19-point lead as Constantini going to kick off to start the second half. Sadie back to return. into the end zone, and he is going to take it down to a knee for a touchback. In the first half, the Friars avoided Sadie completely, going with squib kicks on their first 3 kickoffs. Their 4th kickoff attempt, Josh, they sent it to Sadie, and he misplayed the ball. He was tackled on the 5-yard line. Now, luckily for Penn Charter, they went on a big drive, but that could have been a costly play.
Yes, absolutely. At that point, that drive decided whether or not Penn Charter was going to have a chance of coming back in this game. And now that they're only down 19 points, plenty of football remaining, 24 minutes, they're starting off with the ball. They got to start off hot.
Jones going to throw on the first play of the half. It's complete. As his man Marshall, who has the first down. And actually, that was not Marshall. That was Brendan Thomas. Thomas has made some big plays for
one of the captains on this Penn Charter squad. A good, nice little tight end route, it looked like, even though Thomas is a running back.
Well, it
was
it was a fake handoff to Marshall. Jones had time, delivered it over the middle. Thomas had it for a first down. He's made some big plays in this game. Now a handoff goes to Marshall, trying to go up the middle, but he is met, pushed backwards by number 26, Nicholas Guerrera. Nice tackle there.
And a good job by Marshall getting through the first wave of defenders, but Guerrera, the mean machine of a linebacker, just does not let him extend into the secondary.
Well, one linebacker that is missing for the Friars right now is Michael Hussey, who was injured in the first half. We're waiting for reports to see whether or not he'll be returning to this game. Meanwhile, it'll be 2nd down and 9. Ball on the 34-yard line of Penn Charter. In the backfield is Marshall. Sadie going to split out to the left of Jones. 3 receivers to his left. Jones going to roll to his right now. Fakes a pass. Pushed out of bounds by McGuire. Nice run there by Kyle Jones. It'll set up 3rd down and short. Third down and 3 now.
Big 3rd down play here for Penn Charter Quakers. They need to try and keep this drive going if they want any shot coming back in this game. They're going to need to start off hot. They need to start off this 3rd quarter with the bang.
It's a 3rd and 1. Low snap, handled well by Jones. Hands off to Sadie. Out of bounds, but not before he picks up a big first down.
Just enough there. And good job by Sadie to keep the drive going. Just enough yardage to get the first down.
So a big first down for Sadie, keeps the drive alive as the Quakers are approaching Friar territory. 1st and 10 from the 46-yard line. Jones with Marshall in the backfield. He's going to throw. Pass intended for Sadie. It's complete. Sadie pushes forward and has the first down. Ran through number 42, Zostic. A big pickup there for Sadie.
Some of the fans in front of us were going absolutely insane, Chris. That was an absolutely beautiful piece of running as a receiver by Sadie. He just levels, and I'm talking about leveling Malvern defenders.
Quakers with a lot of momentum here. First down on the Friars 42. Marshall handoff up the middle. And he's got it for a big gain there. That'll set up a 2nd down and 2. But Lisa Rowan's got a report on the injury of Mike Hussey. Lisa, what do you have?
Malvern Prep's Mike Hussey, a linebacker for the Friars, came limping off the field with a Charlie horse in his quad and groin. He's now on the bench stretching it. We're not sure if he'll go back in yet. Chris.
Thank you, Lisa. That could be a big loss for the Friars if Hussey cannot go. He is a huge member of their defensive unit, one of their leaders at the linebacking position. Jones going to fake a handoff. He'll go up the middle. Ball looked to be loose for a moment, but it's still with Penn Charter. They pick up the first down.
This is exactly what Penn Charter needed, Chris. They needed a grueling opening drive in the second half to get Malvern's defense breathing heavy, and I think they're doing a good job of that now. It's just all about finishing it, and that's all it comes down to.
Quakers have come out strong to start the second half. Some power plays by their running attack thus far. Now have the ball on the 31-yard line of the Friars. Sun beginning a set here at McGuire Field. Much of the field covered in shade. Jones fakes the handoff to Sadie, pushing forward, avoids a few tackles, is brought down by McGuire. Picked up about 3 on the play.
Jones looked initially beat at the line of scrimmage, but again, what they've been doing all day is just been trying to fight for as many yards as they possibly can get. And second and 7 is always better than an original 2nd and 10.
Jones fight forward for some extra yards there, as you mentioned. He's been impressive throughout the day, Josh. What have you liked from the junior quarterback of the Quakers?
I mean, he's doing it all. He's extending drives with his legs. He's keeping drives alive with Sadie, handing it off to him, and then he's also utilizing his receivers, and again, that balance is just awesome to see.
Speaking of utilizing receivers, Aaron Mayone with a nice pickup there out of the backfield on the swing pass. He picks up a first down.
And yet another player on this field that has made a 10-yard plus play. The explosiveness of the kids on this field right now is just unbelievable.
Well, it was an explosive first half for the Friars. They had 5 plays go 25 yards or further, but in this half to start, the Quakers dominating on offense. Ball on the 28-yard line now of the Friars. Penn Charter with an impressive drive to start the half. They're going to hand it off to Sadie, but he is met immediately at the line of scrimmage. First man in on the effort was Kevin White.
Kevin White has done a great job, especially on the ground this game, Chris, of just being able to stuff the running back, specifically Sadie, at the line of scrimmage. A very valuable asset there in Kevin White. Great defensive end.
It'll be 2nd down and 10 now on the 18-yard line of the Friars. Penn Charter has taken close to 5 minutes off the clock here in quarter number 3. It's the opening drive of the half.
Jones showing blitz here.
Jones picks up the blitz, sets up the screen. It's Marshall. He gets a block. Going forward, Marshall has the first down and more. Tackled just shy of the 5-yard line.
And a great play there. The screen for Marshall comes back. It's looked like it at least, to get the ball, and then he scampers for some first yard downage and more.
Well, here it is on the replay. Malvern Prep brought the blitz, but it was set up well by the Quakers offense. They used the screen to Marshall, and that is a blitz breaker. Tackled by Christian Bockrith, but the Quakers now have it on the 6-yard line of Malvern Prep, looking to go in for a score here. Fake handoff by Jones, but he is tackled in the backfield.
And it looks like he got a few yards after initially getting hit at the line of scrimmage, but nevertheless, that will bring up 2nd down and goal. And Penn Charter is very, very close to maybe turning the tables in this game if they can scamper into the end zone here.
So it was actually a 1-yard pickup there. Jones was, as you mentioned, Josh, hit initially in the backfield but fell forward. 2nd down and goal on the 5. Man in motion. Jones takes the snap. He's going to fire it for a touchdown. Brendan Thomas went in motion from the top of your screen, came across the backfield and was wide open. Nice setup there by the Penn Charter offense.
Perhaps the best option there, if you're looking at it, you're at the 5-6 yard line. You're trying to not force it too much. But you knew once the man was in motion that he was going to come down and get it. Just a smart play call there.
Brendan Thomas with a big score there. Penn Charter opens up the second half with a long 6-minute, 22-second touchdown drive. The extra point is good. It's now a 12-point game. A big drive there by the Quakers. A lot of plays, took a lot of time off the clock. And that's got to feel good for their defense, which had a lot of time to rest.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the kind of drive that you would want to see at the start of every half, because you just absolutely pounded the ball down Malvern's throat. Their defense is very tired. They're going to look for their offense to respond well, and we're going to look for Malvern Prep's offense to see if they can equalize the drive that just happened.
For Penn Charter, it was a 13-play, 80-yard touchdown drive. Took 6 minutes and 22 seconds off the clock to start half number 2. Penn Charter trying to overcome a first quarter 20-point deficit. The Friars got out to a 20-0 start.
They have since outscored Malvern Prep 17-9 after being down 20 points.
And now they'll kick it off. A short kick. Fair catch there for the Friars. They will have the ball on their own 33-yard line.
And this is a big response. This is going to be a big drive for Malvern Prep. And it's a big drive for Penn Charter's defense, obviously. This is a time where we might see Penn Charter's defense step up aggressively. We'll see what they can bring to the front line here.
The crowd getting into it here at Penn Charter. They know how big of a drive this is for their defense. Gunther and the Friars with it on offense for the first time in the second half. They send Iacone in motion. Handoff Watson. He's up the middle. Hit hard in the middle of the field. Nice tackle there by Matthew Marshall.
And Marshall doing it on both ends, coming up with the huge hit here on defense. We know what he's capable of on offense, but man, what a hit on Watson. Potentially prevented a very, very large gain there.
It was a 5-yard gain for Watson. And I know we already gave it out, but that might have to be the All-American Sporting Goods play of the game. Yet again, there it was on the replay. Might have to give that out in just a second. Meanwhile, play at the field. Ball batted at the line of scrimmage, nearly intercepted. And this Penn Charter defense energized to start the half.
This is exactly the kind of start to the second half that Penn Charter needed. They just need to stop them one more play. Malvern Prep certainly is not in 4-down territory right now. This could be the play of the game, depending on how everything else folds.
Crowd getting loud here on the sideline. Big play here. It's an empty backfield for the Friars. Gunther in shotgun, takes the snap. Screen pass, it's low and incomplete. 3 and out for the Friars. And a perfect start to the second half for Penn Charter.
This is exactly what Penn Charter needed. I spoke too soon when I said this is what they needed, because the 4th down, the 3 and out, stopping them in their own territory. Just a beautiful, no better way to start the second half for Penn Charter.
So the Friars are going to have to punt it now. Back to receive the punt is Sadie. He's joined there with Mayone. Constantini. Nice punt. Mayone going to let it roll. It's bouncing in favor of the Friars. Still rolling. And a beautiful punt by Constantini. It is down on the 3-yard line of Penn Charter. Ball was on the 36 of the Friars, so a long punt there to pin the Quakers deep in their own territory.
And that certainly was a great punt, given the favorable bounces given to Malvern Prep. But what are the receivers on Penn Charter's end doing? They need to pick up the ball while at least it's in the air and catchable. It did not look like a ball that was going to fall out of their hands. You would have much rather taken a hit around your own red zone than being pinned deep.
61 yards on the punt by Constantini. First play here for the Quakers. Thrown into the backfield. It's going to be Sadie, and he is tackled in the end zone for a safety. They're trying to say it's an incomplete pass now.
And it's unfortunate because that was about the furthest end of the field where we can't see it very well. We're going to have to look for the replay here.
Well, we'll see if we
can.
We'll see if we have a good look at it. We'll go to the replay right now. It was a pass to Sadie in the backfield. He was in the end zone. There it is. Sadie catches it for a moment. And that is going to be called a safety. You saw it on the replay, and now it's being announced on the field.
So obviously the officials believe that he had established himself as a runner after completing the catch. We know how iffy these catch rules are nowadays, so certainly a huge safety here by Malvern Prep. It essentially gives them a true two-possession lead.
Well, we're going to take a look at it one more time. I think it was pretty clear that Sadie had possession of it and was running with it. Here it is one more time.